Today looks pretty average. Some tokens are going down, some are going up. But what's interesting is that even the tokens that are going up, nobody wants to hear about them. The market is just getting tired. So this is the performance today, but here's the performance this week. And have a look at this, right? This is a story token, IP, an intellectual property focused blockchain. I made a video on IP 6 days ago, but nobody wanted to watch it. And this is very uncommon. When there was a lot of meme coin trading and a lot of trading in AI agents, people watched pretty much every video that was discussing the tokens they were appreciating, asking whether or not the rally can continue. Now nobody wants to hear about it anymore. The sentiment has clearly shifted. And who am I to blame, right? There are only a few tokens that did not lose 30, 40 or even 50%. Right, here's a Trump token down 55% in the last month. Have a look at the search queries for Bitcoin. It peaked in November of 2024. Since then is coming down. And I think the recent recovery over here was just because of the crash. The altcoins had it worse though. This is the others dominance. So this shows how much of all of crypto is in the altcoins that are not in the top 10. And since Christmas last year, this went down by 28%. So if you bought any of the smaller altcoins, you're likely underperformed Bitcoin and Ethereum. And those assets already got their own crash. Now here's the problem. Have a look at the reference price of the market. So this is Bitcoin with its trading volume based on different price ranges. And there was of course a lot of trading between 88 and 105K, but there was very little trading between 80K and 70K. There's pretty much nothingness. Nobody has their reference price over here, which could indicate that if we fall below, that we can also crash down at a similar pace how we went up initially. Now that's Bitcoin, but the problem is that crypto is highly correlated to one another. When Bitcoin is going down, then Ethereum is going down as well, then the altcoins go down as well. The correlation coefficient measures how much two assets move in tandem with one another. When it's at 1, it means the two assets always move in the same direction at the same time. When it's at -1, it means they always move in opposite directions. So say Bitcoin goes up and the altcoins go down. And what we see here at the top is the Bitcoin price, and what we see at the bottom is the correlation coefficient, again between +1 and -1. It's a coefficient over the last 90 days, and it shows us that most of the time Bitcoin and the altcoins move in the same direction. That's why this here is problematic. When Bitcoin goes to 70K, then this red will become even more red. Now what are the short-term holders doing? Obviously they are currently in losses. So that's expressed by the market value to realized value score. It's currently at -15.8%, so that's how much short-term holders are in losses. And here we've got a measure of how those losses get realized. And yes, the first short-term holders are capitulating. The majority of short-term holders are in losses, of course not all of them. And here is the reference price over time of the short-term holders. And it's very interesting to see how we are in a somewhat constant trading range. Whenever we hit the bottom, it might potentially make sense to buy. Whenever we hit the top, it might potentially make sense to sell. Currently, we are slightly at the lower end, but we haven't yet hit the blue line, which is only at 75K. Again, it seems like 70K, 75K, this is where the next reference price for Bitcoin is. In the worst case, we only have seen half of the pain so far. It all started out with a big hack, $1 billion hack of a centralized exchange. Now people take this as a reason to take profit, to panic sell. And the question we always have to ask ourselves is, what is the potential news that could fuel Bitcoin or altcoins higher, right? What can top something like Donald Trump himself launching a meme coin? Now, crypto comes in waves, and the issue is that when prices go down, this can have a knock-on effect on very important institutions within crypto. For example, there was the collapse of Terra Luna, right? The Anchor protocol. Anchor was a protocol that promised 20% per annum fixed return on your UST stablecoin. Now that of course attracted a lot of capital, but it can only work as long as the market is expanding. And it didn't expand at that time for a while. So check this out. This is the stablecoin market cap over time. And what we see over here is the Anchor protocol collapse. So we saw all that money flowing into crypto, and then it only took a few months of no growth for one of the major decentralized finance protocols to implode. That's then when money exited the system. And that's then also when FTX collapsed. Currently, we do not yet see the stablecoin market cap going down. The market is not yet shrinking, but it starts to go sideways again. And so we have to watch those institutional players quite closely, right? We cannot have too much third-party custody. I personally prefer to have most of my money directly on a ledger device. There's also a link down below, right? This is self-custody. It's better to have the funds in your own hands than trusting somebody else, especially once it's significant. And so I think it's important to have a proper game plan, right? To know what to do in any scenario. If prices continue to rise, that's good, because probably most people that are still watching still have some crypto exposure, myself as well, right? I have my long-term Bitcoin holdings that I plan to actually never sell. But then I also have some short-term holdings, and I did sell quite a bit of that on the 25th of February, just before this major crash. What's important is to have some kind of dry powder on the side, be this in cash, be this in gold, be this in something else, whatever it is, right? Something that's not correlated to crypto, that in case things continue to go down, we can take advantage of lower prices. Because obviously, historically, even if we are at 80K or a bit above that, that does not necessarily mean that we are already at super cheap prices, right? We could, in theory, still go to 60K, 50K, 40K. Those kind of prices were still relatively normal 1 year ago. I will continue to cover the data around crypto regularly on this channel. So if you got some value out of this video, and if you don't want to miss the next one, then feel free to subscribe over here. I publish videos pretty much every single day. If you want to support this channel, then feel free to also give this video a thumbs up. It helps the channel grow. And of course, feel free to also check out the premium membership. So that's above here, thebitcoinstrategy.com. I share what kind of trades I do. I recently bet a lot on falling prices, made some money with that. And so wishing you all the best. Hope you haven't lost too much money. See you next time in YouTube or in premium. Cheers.